The conference is now starting. All attendees can now hear you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sam McHale. I'm Vice President of Sales with AECOM Solutions, and it's my pleasure to welcome all of you to our webinar today. The title of our webinar is Document Solutions, What's in it for you? A simple and straightforward approach to document solutions. Before we get started with our webinar, just a few housekeeping items just to kind of help with the participation in the event. You all should notice on the top right corner of your screen a control panel that would allow you to kind of control the settings of the meeting, especially the view. There should be an option to maximize the view window to kind of see full screen. If you go just under the view menu, and you should have the option to maximize your window. It's recommended that you set your resolution for best viewing experience at 1024 by 768. You should be able to do that just by going through the Windows control panel and set it up. Throughout the presentation, if you have any questions, there should be a section right within the control panel towards the bottom that say questions and answers. So you can go ahead and just simply key in your questions. And if it's something technical, you can't hear us or you can't see the presentation, we have people that are monitoring the questions and will respond right back to you. If it's a general question, we will record all these questions, and towards the end of the presentation, we have a Q&A session where we're going to try to answer all the questions that are submitted throughout the presentation. So we encourage everyone to submit any comments or questions throughout, and we'll be happy to handle all the questions at the end. To control the background noise, all your lines are set on mute. So again, the questions and answers panel will be the best way to kind of voice any questions or comments to us. All right. Hopefully everyone can see us okay and can hear us okay. Now that we got the kind of housekeeping items out of the way here, back to our presentation. Like I said, our presentation today is entitled Document Management, What's in it for you? Really, the purpose of this presentation is to provide just some basic education about the document management marketplace. There is a lot of clutter and a lot of buzzwords that are in the market today, and what we've heard from our prospects and customers is that there is a lot of confusion. They're not sure when a company say, I offer an enterprise solution or I offer a content management solution. What does that mean? And more important, what are the key things that you need to look for to pick the right solution for your needs and for your own applications where you can see direct ROI to your investment. So with that in mind, that's really the setting for our presentation today, is to keep it as educational as possible in simple terms, just kind of really demystify the whole concept of document management and some of the technologies that are available in the marketplace. We're very happy to have with us here one of the subject matter experts. We have with us Greg Nutter. Greg has over 25 years experience in the document and content management marketplace. He has held executive positions with a number of companies like Xerox, Document Science Corporations, and INSCI. Greg today is the principal consultant for a consulting firm called Seloquent out of San Diego that specializes in helping companies with strategies related to document and content management. And he had spoken in many public and private speaking engagements throughout the U.S. and Europe. So without further ado, I'd like to pass this on to Greg. Greg, it's all yours.
Great. Thanks, Sam. Well, welcome, and thanks, everyone, for taking an hour out of their busy day to spend some time with us and explore the exciting field of content management or document management. Let me start by showing you our agenda. And if you look at it, you'll see content management, and you might be wondering, hey, I signed up to see document management, and there's no document management there. Well, I think the reason for that is that, as Sam pointed out, there's a lot of confusion, a lot of different terms. A lot of people will use content management or image management or document management. And what I wanted to do was take some verbiage that was generally generic. So I use content management. And so you are at the right session, and we're going to explore content management, talk about what it is. We're going to talk a little bit about the technologies that are used in content management and give you a framework for deciding what kinds of technologies or systems you would require to support your business. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the business value, why people are buying these systems, and if you've been looking at any of the trends, we're seeing a lot of investment in content management and document management technologies, particularly in the small and mid-sized space, very, very fast-growing segment. Then at the end, we're going to talk a little bit about solution selection strategies. If you're planning on acquiring these kind of technologies, what kinds of things should you look for, and what kinds of things should you be wary of. So that'll be our agenda for today. And at the very end, we will handle question and answers. So if you think of anything along the way, type it in, and we'll address it at the end. Okay, so let's begin. Content management. What is it today? Well, it encompasses a lot of different things. And if I build this slide quickly, we can see that it includes document management, records management, imaging, cold or ERM, enterprise report management. We have some technologies like forms processing, OCR, ICR, OMR, HCR. We have web content management. We have issues with content preservation and file transformation. There's different ways of delivering a content management system. We have software as a service. We also have compliance and various regulatory compliance standards, such as DoD 5015.2. So as you can see, if you go through this, there's a wide range of technologies. There's a lot of different features and functions. And there's a lot of business requirements that are all mingled in together. And when people start looking at this space, they find it to be very complicated. So we're going to try and take some of the complication out of it. We're not going to define everything that's on that screen, but we're going to try and give you some fundamentals as to where to start and how to get going on deciding whether or not content management is for you. So what is content management? Instead of giving you a big screen of bullets and technologies, we're going to try and do it in 15 words or less. And I'm having some trouble advancing a screen here. There we go. So in 15 words or less, content management are the technologies, tools, and processes used to capture, manage, store, and deliver content across an enterprise. And there's a couple key elements that I want to drill in on here. First off is it's not just technologies. A key element in making content management work are processes. Business processes that are supported by the technology. So the technology by itself does not add a lot of value. It's how you use those technologies and tools to support the business processes. So business processes are a key component here. The other part is it's all about moving content, capturing it, managing it, storing it, delivering it in an electronic way across whether it's a department, across your whole company, or even to your customers and suppliers. So what is content? Well, content is, the way we define it, as documents or document components that are required to support business processes involving people. And the people part is an important differentiator. There are a number of other technologies that support, for example, data and databases or EDI, electronic exchange. And those are technologies or systems that are designed for computers to speak to each other, to communicate information electronically to one system for another system. But content is all about people. And if you lose sight of that part of it, then you're going to have challenges putting in a content management system that really meets your needs. So it's all about moving documents or document components, supporting business processes, and those business processes involve people. If you look at content, we find that there are three fundamental types of content that you're going to come across: text, data, and image. And while we'll certainly have documents that will have a mixture of all three types, normally documents will be predominantly one type or the other, and I use this triangle to explain that. Documents will normally be either far on the top towards imaging, bottom left corner toward primarily text, or off to the right in data. The other interesting thing about content types is the type normally defines how that document was created. So if we look at textual documents, they are almost always author-generated. And when I say author-generated, I mean somebody sat down and manually in front of a computer screen, used some sort of a desktop tool, and they typed in the information, or you use a tool to create that information. If you look at data-oriented documents, we find that those are almost always system-generated. And when I say system-generated, I mean there's a computer program, which could be an accounting system, an ERP system, a CRM system, a billing system of sort that has created that document and caused that document to be placed, or that data to be placed on the page. And lastly, we have documents that are primarily image, and they are either scanned or faxed. If we now take those three categories, we can start to take a look at the kinds of documents that we work with through to support our business processes, and start to put them in various categories. So we see in text or author-generated documents, we have emails, Word documents for letters, brochures, documentation, newsletters, even web pages. They're all author-created documents. System-generated documents are often bills or policies, direct mail. They could be internal reports, such as inventory and accounting reports, or shipping documents. And then lastly, we have documents that are faxed, or we have to either fax them or scan them. And what drives that actually is two factors. One is that document has been created external to our organization, so we have to scan it so that we have it in electronic format, or that document has a signature or other handwriting on it that adds information. So we see that in the case of application forms or contracts, perhaps an HR document, signed non-compete, or those kinds of agreements. So we have those three categories of documents. Once you have the kinds of documents, then you can look at content management technology. And we find that the technologies really are based on two key factors. The first is, what's the content type? Is it primarily data, primarily text, or primarily image? And that has a major factor on what kind of technology you're going to need to capture, manage, and deliver those documents. The second important factor is, what is the business process that you wish to support? Is it a records management business process? Is it a document creation process? Is it a web publishing process? And once you define that business process, you start to define what kind of user interface you need to support your users, what kind of features you need in the system, and whether or not there's a requirement for integration, an integration to other systems, such as it could happen on the authoring system on the desktop, so there's desktop integration, or integration to back office systems. So if we take that to the next level, what we do is we find out there are three fundamental technology categories to support the different content categories. We have document management, and I'm using document management in the historical sense. Many companies rightfully use document management to describe content management, and there's nothing wrong with that. Traditionally, document management, the term was used to describe the management of textual-oriented or author-generated documents. So we have things like Word or desktop publishing systems, or Dreamweaver, something that creates web pages. And you'll find that within a document management system, you have text, you have graphics, or you could have something that we call a blob, which is a binary large object, their acronym for you, which could be an audio file, a video file, could even be software code. But again, it's normally author-generated and primarily text. Second base technology you're going to find is imaging. And imaging, just like it sounds, is a set of technologies which is designed to capture either scanned documents, external paper documents, or fax documents. The last category of technology is what we call COLD. And COLD is an old acronym that was developed by FileNet in the mid-'80s. It stands for Computer Output to Laser Disk, or some people will refer to them as report management or report distribution systems. These systems manage system-generated documents, things that you would normally print, and the file formats that are used are either data or they could be print data streams. Traditionally, these systems managed data streams such as line data. They could be SCS data. Some of the production data streams such as Xerox Metacode, LCDS, or even IBM AFPDS data streams. More recently, we're seeing management of the newer print data streams such as PostScript, PCL, or PDF. So now that we have base technology categories, we can put those in a grid such as the one you're seeing now, and we can use it to describe things like document source, format, structure, key features, and ideal business processes. And what you'll see as you go through this grid is that different technologies, whether they're document management technology, imaging technology, or COLD, again, supports different types of documents, different sources, different formats, different degrees of structure, structured information. And what we mean when we say structured information is how easy is it to define the information on a page, either based on its location or other rules. So if the date always occurs in the upper right-hand corner, then that's structured information. If the date always appears under a word that says date, then that's a rule that we can use, so it's fairly structured. But in text, such as correspondence, a letter, HR policy, it's very difficult to tell what the information is based on where it's located on the page, and that's what we call unstructured. So if you look at document management, most of the information that goes into a document management system is very unstructured. Imaging can be unstructured if it's a scan, correspondence, but it can also be what we call semi-structured, things like invoices or purchase orders. There is some structure as to how you would go about finding information on that document. COLD documents, again, which are data or print data streams, are often captured directly in electronic format, and they can be very highly structured. An example of a very highly structured COLD document might be an inventory listing, which might look just like an Excel spreadsheet. So very well defined where the information is on that page. If you go down one level further under key features, what you start to notice is each of these systems has very different features. And so if you want to store text, unstructured text that was author-driven or author-created, you will need such features as version control. This is version 1, 2, 3, or 4. Text indexing, so you can find the document. Library services, which is check-in, check-out. Ability to store metadata, which is information about the document, such as who created it, on what date, using what kind of publishing system. You may have document assembly or publishing capabilities, and the ability for different people to collaborate on the document creation. If you move over into imaging, you again see very different features. You don't have version control. You don't have check-in, check-out. You don't have publishing. You have things like image enhancement, OCR, ICR capability, forms processing, potentially intelligent forms processing, or intelligent forms recognition. And again, you go into COLD, you have an entirely different set of features. So again, the features line up with the kind of document that you're going to store. At the bottom, you see a list of ideal business processes that each of those technology categories is designed to support. And while through this presentation we've started at the top and talked about document source, format, structure, features, you as a user want to analyze what kind of technology you want by starting at the bottom of this graph and looking at business processes. Say, okay, am I am I interested in improving our ability to create documents in a collaborative way? And if that's the case, then you might most likely are looking for a document management type system in the traditional sense. If you're looking to do to scan documents to support data entry or customer support to help accounting or loans or claims processing, then you're more interested in an imaging type technology. And again, if you're looking to capture forms or documents that you would normally print and distribute, then you're probably looking for a cold type system. Another key technology that is used to support content management is workflow. And there we go. Workflow is used to be sold as a separate technology component to content management, and now we're finding that it is an option or add-on component of almost any content management system out there. And the reason it's valuable is because when we talk about what is content management, what's the value of content management, it's all about moving and distributing documents in electronic format across the enterprise to support business processes. And what workflow does is it facilitates and manages that movement of information. So workflow software helps you manage the execution of the business process by having logical routing to various people in organized steps and based on certain decision logic. Some great examples of applications that get a lot of benefit from workflow software can be things like document review and approval. So if we have a brochure that we want to send around to various people and want to make sure that everyone agrees with it before we publish it and put it on our website. Another great application is in accounting, where we want to do AR or AP processing, potentially expense report processing. And there's some high-end systems that focus on loan or claims processing. The business value of workflow really falls into three key areas: effectiveness, efficiency, and accountability. Effectiveness is all about doing it right. So reducing errors, complying with policy or the rules, making sure that the process that we've set up to make decisions and to move information across the organization is followed. Efficiency is all about doing it fast. So we're going to increase the turnaround, the speed and the performance of a particular business process, potentially improve the productivity, so be able to process more documents or make more decisions with the same amount of people. And we want to, provide accountability, which is all about being able to audit the process or being able to prove that it was done right. This is very helpful if we to support compliance efforts or auditing, or also if we want to look at our processes and make improvements along the way to make sure that we're doing things in the most productive and efficient manner. So what are the business benefits of content management systems? Why are people looking at these things and making investments in this technology? There are three main business benefits. The first one, and probably the most significant one, is there are serious cost benefits associated with implementing content management technologies, which is why practically every large company has one, in fact, in many cases, multiple content management systems. There are efficiencies in being able to make decisions faster, support customers faster, to support business processes faster. There's also an opportunity to reduce costs, whether those are filing costs, manpower costs, overtime costs, reducing costs of penalties for being late for filing. And a lot of organizations, instead of just using content management as a way to reduce costs, see that as a way to improve their business processes to drive more customer sales and increase profits. Second major reason for people investing in content management is to do a better job of supporting their customers. Large companies for a long time have had content management systems behind the scenes of their customer service applications. And now mid-sized companies are looking at this and seeing the ability to instantly pull up customer documents, customer files, to be able to answer questions immediately, whether on the phone with a customer, to answer questions about a document that the customer is referring to without having to put them on hold or call them back. So this ability to improve their customer support can help them provide competitive advantage or market leadership. The last area is risk reduction. And we've heard a lot about this, particularly on the evening news and newspapers lately, but the challenges associated with or the risks involved, but not complying to certain regulatory rules or accounting rules or audit requirements, and landing people who the heads of companies or heads of departments in hot water. There is certainly the risk from a security standpoint, where a risk of files being stolen or being accessed. It's much easier to access documents when they're being moved around in paper format than they are electronically. And the last area is business continuity. When a flood strikes or fire, some other calamity, many companies' businesses can be either seriously impacted or put out of business for weeks and sometimes months while they gather the documents, the necessary documents that allow them to do their business. So we're seeing more and more companies look to content management to minimize those risks. Some of the challenges associated with acquiring content management systems are these following categories. Big one is selection. I don't know if anyone attending today has been to a trade show or a kind of event where you're walking the halls and looking at all the vendors' booths and reading their brochures. But even myself, I go up and down the aisles, and they all look the same to me. They all seem to do the same things. They have lots of features that I'm not sure whether I use, how I use, whether they're easy to use. And so the solutions and the technologies are considerably complex to understand and to assess whether or not they would provide value. Cost justification can be quite complex. Some systems can run hundreds of thousands of dollars, and trying to figure out how do I cost justify this using a combination of soft costs and hard costs is often quite difficult. Implementation can be a challenge. Not just installing the software, but deciding how to integrate it with my desktop applications or my back office applications. And training can be, and user acceptance can be a considerable challenge. We've come across many companies who have installed these kinds of technologies and picked ones that had lots of features because they figured that it was better to get more features than less features, but they had took on a tremendous burden to provide training and support and to gain user acceptance from those systems. Lastly, we have issues with regard to ongoing support. What kind of impact will this system have on your infrastructure? Will it increase network traffic, increase your storage requirements, your processing requirements, or will it require you to make investments in costly software upgrades? A lot of companies have installed these systems and found that there was considerable more behind-the-scenes impact than they originally bargained for. And your business is going to change. All of us expect our companies to grow. You're going to add new business applications that you want supported by that content management system, and you want to make sure that you consider systems that have the flexibility to support those changes. So a recommended approach would be to consider the following 3 steps. First off, start with your business. Don't start with a brochure from someone selling a content management product. Look at business applications that you have that could benefit through the managing and distribution of documents or content in electronic format. Once you've selected those high payoff business applications, look for solutions to match those needs. Do you need a document management or text-oriented system? Do you need an image-oriented system, or do you need a data or cold-oriented system? And make those selections based on your business needs. And lastly, keep in mind that the solution does require some integration, some training, ongoing support, and needs to be there as your business evolves. And you're going to want to add more applications. And so you want to make sure that whatever you select can grow and evolve with you. Let's quickly look at some of the high payoff business applications that many users and companies are focusing on today. And I'd like to talk about four. They're horizontal applications. And what I mean by that is they're applications that almost any company could see business value in using a content management system to support. The first one is within the accounting group. Accounting has a lot of documents, AR, AP, expense processing, order processing, that requires movement of documents, requires quick access of documents, requires filing and retrieval of documents. And most companies find that there's considerable opportunities to reduce costs, improve productivity, and obtain their audit or regulatory compliance through the use of content management systems. If you're looking for content management systems to support accounting applications, the chief requirements that you will have will be in the areas of imaging and cold. Workflow is also a valuable component, particularly if you want to manage routing for approval processes, or you may want to, or also for audit or regulatory compliance. You may want to store a small number of Office documents, such as Excel spreadsheets or policy documents as well. And you'll also want to look for a solution that has some kind of capability to support document retention, where you can set timelines for when a document will be deleted from the system. Second major category of high payoff business applications is to support customer service. Certainly in accounting applications, customers call in, they have a question about a bill, a statement, they're wondering where their check is, and for accounting personnel to be able to instantly pull up that information from their desk and either interpret it, answer the question, email, fax, or distribute the document to the customer on a real-time basis saves a lot of time and reduces a lot of turnaround or runaround. A lot of inbound correspondence, too, where customers come in and have inquiries. And a lot of organizations are looking to provide more customer self-service, where their customers can go on their website and access copies of their invoices, their statements, or other documents that were mailed to them, and perhaps they would want to get them electronically rather than having a hard copy. Some of the key solution requirements to support customer service will be in the areas of imaging and cold. And if you're going to provide self-service access or have people who are going to be out of the office, remote locations, access these documents, having a web interface or web access is very important. Another category of high payoff business applications is in supporting human resources or corporate administration. Here we have employee recruiting processes where we get resumes, we want to route those resumes, we want to get comments and feedback. We have various onboarding processes where we have documents to be signed, perhaps documentation to be captured and stored, and ongoing records management. Contracts, tax, insurance documents, leases, a lot of those documents have signatures on them. They are received from the outside and need to be kept for records management purposes, for legal reasons. Customer and general correspondence, government regulatory correspondence and filings. This category of business applications generally have a high imaging requirement. So if this is a group of applications that you want to support, you want to make sure you get a solution that manages imaging very well. You may want workflow for approving of documents or for regulatory, for auditing purposes, and also for employee hiring purposes. You'll also require some level of document retention management. The last group I'd like to talk about is an area called report distribution. And most companies have a requirement in this area. This is where the back office prints out financial or inventory reports, sales summaries, all kinds of other documents that are printed on high-speed printers in the data center. They're burst into sections, and then someone walks those documents around to the various departments. These documents have a very short shelf life, sometimes measured in minutes. Could be as long as a few weeks or until the next report comes out, and then they end up in the trash and in the recycling. By capturing these documents while electronic format and moving them electronically, companies save a lot of money in printing costs and in the cost of distribution. To support report distribution, you're going to be looking for a content management system that has a good cold capability, can capture data-oriented documents, display them in the format that was identical to how they would look if they were printed, and be able to integrate with the back office application that's generating that application, that printed document. So whether that's an accounting system or an ERP system or some other system, it needs to be able to capture those documents right from that application in electronic format. Okay, so briefly, some strategies you should consider to minimize your overall costs and put in the content management system. Certainly integration is a big area. There are systems that integrate very tightly at a desktop level and at a back office level. Certainly the more having integration is helpful to improve productivity of a business process, but the more integration you have, the higher the costs and the longer the implementation cycle can take. Training, you want to look for an intuitive interface as opposed to something that has a lot of features, unless you are planning to deploy a system to a small, high-powered group where you're going to spend a lot of training and you're hoping to get very, very large productivity gains out of that application. You also want to look for systems which require you to not install a lot of software on a desktop level. Ongoing support, if you are a large organization and have major investments in mainframes, then you also probably have major investments in IT staff, and you can support larger systems that also come with major support overhead. If not, you're going to be looking for systems that are more Microsoft-centric, that are easier to support and work with a lot of the Microsoft systems you have in place. You're going to want to look for technology that uses industry-standard components, such as standardized browsers, databases, web servers, storage systems, and file formats. And you're going to be looking for vendor stability, someone who's been around for more than 2 or 3 years, who has a track record of delivering and has a network of satisfied customers. And your business is going to change, so you're going to be looking for a solution that is scalable and flexible to respond to those changes. So to summarize, I'd like to leave you with three final messages. First off, content management is proven to provide significant business benefits today. And it's also been shown to provide benefits not just for large companies, but we're seeing a lot of mid-sized and large companies look at this technology and deploy it very successfully to reduce costs, improve the level of customer service that they can provide, and mitigate a lot of risks associated with compliance, business continuity, and security. Secondly, content management certainly can be confusing. What I call content management, other people call document management or imaging management or ECM. So there's a lot of different acronyms. There's a lot of technology components. And making a feature versus, do I really need that, and what's the benefit decision associated with those features can be a very confusing process. So for success, I recommend focus. Start focusing on your business applications first. You will not want to put every document in your company in electronic format because it will take you forever. You're always going to have some documents in paper. So select business applications that have a lot of paper components associated to the business process, where there's significant value in electronically capturing, managing, retrieving, and distributing that in electronic format. Once you have that, then go look at solutions and select those solutions based on your business needs, and look wherever possible to minimize ongoing costs, such as impact to your infrastructure, training, and ongoing flexibility. Thanks very much. I'll turn it back to Sam.
Thanks, Greg. Very insightful thoughts and words here that I think kind of break down a lot of, like you said, the buzzwords and the clutter, and just in very simple terms. As you said, it's really not about the technologies. It's about your needs and your requirements. Each company is different, and you need to really start with your needs and requirements and then find the solutions that best fit your own specific requirements. And in the next 5 minutes, I just want to take a very brief glimpse at where AECOM solution fit into this picture. A lot of you are familiar with our company and our products, and many of you are customers. But I want to just give you guys a very high-level view of where AECOM fits. What AECOM offers is integrated document management solutions. As Greg said, don't get hung up on the words and acronyms here. What does it mean to you? It means we provide solutions that deal with your documents and reports. So documents would be any documents that you're creating and sending to your suppliers or customers. These could be customer invoices, purchase orders, shipping documents, receiving documents, any type of business document that you process in your organization today, as well as any type of report. So sales reports, customer service reports, forecast reports, production reports. These are all different types of business documents that you need to communicate with your employees or your suppliers or your customers. Our solutions help you with all phases of the document lifecycle, from the creation, distribution, to the management of these documents. So when we're talking about the creation of these documents, if we take the example of invoices that you're sending to your customers, many businesses are still printing and mailing a lot of these documents, which delay the delivery of the invoices, and there are much more efficient ways to get these documents out to your customers and suppliers much faster. So we have solutions and tools that help you with the creation phase, the distribution, how can you automatically email or fax these documents to your customers and suppliers. And then the management element is where Greg kind of focused a lot of the discussion today, which is, okay, once you send these documents out, can you archive them? Can you retrieve them easy? So we have a whole document management layer that archives and index all these documents that you're exchanging and provide easy access to them. So if we take each of these slides, if we look at the first one, what do I mean by create? Most ERP or accounting software generate just plain output, like the picture that we're looking at here, which is a purchase order, just the plain data of a purchase order. The AECOM document output solution allow you to take that exact output without any customization to your accounting software, your ERP package, format it, add colors to it, add barcodes, and allow you to distribute that document electronically, minimizing the cost associated with the printing and mailing of that document. So this is kind of the first element of our integrated document management solution, is the whole creation phase. The creation phase also, you can kind of think about it for your inbound documents. So when you receive invoices or from your vendors or purchase orders from your customers, they come as hard copies documents. So what our solution allows you to do is allow you to scan these documents and create an electronic version of them that can be routed and routing and approval throughout the organization, rather than having to kind of move the hard copy of that document. So that's all dealing with the creation phase, capturing all types of documents that you're generating, whether it's computer-generated documents or documents that you're receiving from your customers or suppliers, creating an electronic version of them and managing these documents. The second set of solution deals with the distribution of these documents. So again, if we think about the invoices, rather than going through the whole process of printing and mailing these invoices, our solution can automatically integrate with your existing accounting or ERP system and dynamically create an electronic form of these documents that can be printed, emailed, faxed, and also with our direct integration to the document management system, a copy of each invoice that we're processing can be indexed and organized into our document management system for easy retrieval. So that's really one of the unique offering about our solution, is the fact that we integrate the document output layer with the document distribution and the document management piece all in one solution that integrates with each other and minimize the custom programming on your part. Then the last piece of the solution is our content management or document management solution. So that allows you to take all the different types of data that Greg touched on. So Greg touched on image data. These are documents that you're receiving, where we can use any scanner or multifunction device to allow you to scan in these documents, index them, and feed them into the document management system. Computer-generated documents, or what Greg referred to as cold products. So these are any documents or reports that you might be generating from your accounting software or ERP system. What we allow you to do is using our document output capture layer to capture these documents, auto-indexing them. And what I mean by that is, like, if you're printing invoice, we can, right on the fly, capture the key fields that describe that invoice, like invoice number, customer number, invoice total, invoice date, and pass all these fields to our document management system as intelligent indices. So when a user log into the system, in 2 seconds they can search by that document or by that key field to retrieve the document that they need. So the first two cover the image type of data as well as the computer-generated data, and then the third element deals with the electronic files, or what Greg referred to as your text document. These are the user author documents like emails, Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel files. So again, we can capture all these documents, index them, and put everything in one centralized repository that's accessible by all your users through just a simple web browser where they can log in, search for documents. It has very robust security to allow you to deploy it across multiple departments or multiple divisions. It has some of the library services that Greg referred to, the ability to kind of control check-in and check-out. Like if you have a document that where you need multiple departments or multiple divisions to collaborate on with the library services, you can kind of control who's checking out the documents and maintain the integrity of the document. There is a whole version management and retention management policy manager within the system to allow you to control when documents should be archived and when they should be disposed, and there's a whole process tied to that. And then the last piece, there is a whole workflow engine that's built within the product to help with the whole routing and approval function. So when you look at our solutions, you really see what's unique about them is the whole integration between the document output layer to manage all your computer-generated documents and reports, to the distribution layer to manage the distribution and delivery of these documents, then to the document management layer that allow you easy archiving and easy retrieval of these documents with some advanced features like the library services and the workflow routing and approval option. Again, it's not about the technologies or about the buzzwords. It's really more about what your needs are and what your requirements are and how can you find a solution that's easy to deploy, that's affordable, that provide the highest ROI for your specific requirements and needs. So that gives you kind of just a glimpse about some of the technologies that we provide. We have a couple of more webinars that we will be holding. One is coming up on July 11th and one on July 25th. And these webinars are going to be focused on a specific functional department. Like Greg said, to help with the whole ROI with document management solution, it's important to pick areas where you can see that ROI very quick. And accounts payable and accounts receivable are two of the areas where there's just a lot of paper documents, a lot of documents that go around the office, and they can realize a lot of benefits by deploying an efficient and a scalable document management solution. So we'll focus the next 2 webinars on these specific departments, some of the documents that each of these departments touch, and how some of our solution can fit in and address these requirements. We encourage all of you to, again, contact us if there are any questions. We're also going to have a recorded version of this webinar that we'll be happy to email it to anyone that's interested. Just send us an email with your request, and we'll send you a copy of the recorded webinar. If there are specific requirements or needs or challenges that you're facing in your organization, we'd love to hear from you. Would love to do like a more in-depth needs analysis to your own needs and requirements, and come back to you with here's what we propose to be a solution for your own specific needs and requirements, putting aside all the buzzwords and all the technologies here. So thank you very much all for being with us today. The last 5 minutes here, we have a few questions that were submitted through the chat box, so would like to kind of answer some of these questions. The first question here I have, and I'll pass these to Greg to kind of get his take on them. It talks about some of the regulations that a lot of companies need to follow, like Sarbox, for example. And the question is it important when I'm selecting a document management system to kind of make sure that it is Sarbox certified, or it's been through some type of certification to the regulation that I'm impacted with?
Good question. Thanks, Sam. A lot of people will ask, is this a Sarbanes-Oxley certified system, or can I get certified on this for HIPAA or those kind of things? And in most cases, in fact, almost every case, the content management system or the technology itself is not certifiable. What is certifiable is your business processes using those technologies. So what you want to do, for example, in HIPAA, a lot of the focus is on privacy and being able to control information. So you're going to look for systems that have good security and auditing capabilities, so you can see who is in there, looking at which documents, what dates, those kinds of things. And those kind of capabilities will allow you to manage HIPAA compliance. Sarbanes-Oxley is all about, are you telling me the truth, or do you have good processes in place for me to rely on the information you're giving me? And to support that, you're going to have certainly such features as workflow, digital signatures, and ability to lock documents such as Excel spreadsheets and other documents, so that the financials that went in were certified by a particular person at a certain time, and you have an audit trail on that. There is a records management certification that if you're looking for a very high-end records management system, but most of these compliance that people look to do is related to your business processes, not the content management system.
Great. The next question here is relating, the question is, do you have any slides that talk about a typical document being scanned, or what's the process to index these documents for, like, I think the example that's given is for employment application. So I'll just kind of very high level regarding the scanning process. The way our system works is that we can integrate with any existing multifunction device that you might have, or a scanner, but we also have our own scanning module that allow you to simply scan in a document, it displays the document on the screen, and allow you to key in the indices of that document. There are also a number of ways where we can automate that process. So to give you a couple of, and it all would depend on the specific document that you want to scan in. But some of the options that we have is we have within our scanning tool, for example, a process where you can set up a template, especially like with the example that you gave us here for employment application. That sounds like a very structured document where you can set up a template to define exactly where are the key fields that you want to capture. So with that scenario, our software allows you to design a specific template that would define key fields that you want to capture. And then once you design that, you can then put through hundreds of these documents. As long as they're following the same template, the system will go in, capture the key fields that you identify, OCR them, and pass them on to our system as index fields. We can also do things like, for example, get the employee ID, for example, in an employee application, and if you have a database that has additional information on that employee, we can do a real-time lookup to additional key fields out of your database and use these as indices. So there are a number of ways to automate the whole indexing process, and we'll be happy to kind of provide more in-depth answer that's specific to your document and your question, but that gives you kind of an idea about some of the indexing technologies that we have. Okay. The next question I have here, Greg, is related to the deployment of these systems, and it sounds like it's coming from someone on the IT side, kind of more concerned about what's involved in deploying these systems and how much efforts do they typically take?
Good question. I guess the answer to that is, the old proverbial, how long is a piece of string? There's three parts to installing one of these systems. There's the basic IT infrastructure install, which could involve loading software on a server, loading maybe a system on your web server, could involve loading other software, doing upgrades across the organization, and doing any integration that you want to existing software. So that's kind of phase one. Second part is I want to set up my business application. So if I'm going to use a workflow or I want to find documents in a certain way, I need to tune the system such that it supports my business. And you want to look for a system where it is flexible enough so that you tell it how you're going to do your business rather than it tells you how you're going to do your business. And the last step in installing a system really is user training and then getting them to adopt the system. And that can be as simple as log in and it's intuitive enough. There's good help screens and they can find their way around to day long or a bunch of training sessions. My experience is putting a system like this in can take anywhere from a week or two or a couple of weeks for some systems that have been designed well to minimize the impact of those three areas. You also see large companies that will be working on a large vertical application for 6 months to over a year. So it really depends on the kind of system it is and whether it's a broad base level system or if it's a very focused vertical system.
Great. And just kind of a brief comment on that. On our side, really deployments are typically more kind of towards that two to 4 weeks deployment that Greg described, and that's because our solutions are developed for rapid deployment at departmental level where you can get it up and running fairly quick and kind of start using the system without really a very long deployment cycle and with a very minimal requirements on the IT side to get it up and running. Also, the other element that's important in these deployments is how easy the system is for the users, because if the system is not easy enough or if the system requires a lot of training to get the users acquainted with it, then most users give up very quickly on using the system and you don't get the maximum utilization of the system that you acquired. So it's very critical when you're selecting a solution to also pick one that's easy, intuitive, and easy for the users to grasp and start using. We got a bunch more questions, but unfortunately we're running out of time, so we'll reply to some of these individual questions directly to each of you. There's one question that popped up a number of times regarding getting a copy of the presentation. We'll be happy to send a copy. If you could just send us an email to sales@acom.com, and we'll be happy to kind of respond back with a copy of the presentation. And like I said, a recorded copy of that webinar will be available on our website, and we'll make sure to email everyone once that the recorded version is available, and you can kind of view it on your own. In conclusion, I want to just thank everyone for your time today. It's been a pleasure, and we hope this was informative session and covered the topics that you're hoping to cover. We invite you to come back to our next webinar, which is going to be on the 11th, and it's going to focus on the accounts payable operation. And then the next the following one is going to be on July 25th, and it's going to focus on the accounts receivable operation and how document management solutions can be deployed in that environment. Thanks again, and thanks for joining us on the webinar.